Hey guys, welcome back to the shop for another episode of Saturday Night Special. So this week I want to continue on getting my vices mounted onto the roller toolboxes. In the previous episode, I showed you my new to me Starrett machinist vise that was given to me by the LS Starrett company whenever I was up there for our factory tour. And we got that mounted onto the 55-inch roller chest, which is in the office now, to go along with that work area there with the granite plate. But we have replaced that box with this 72 that's going to be used out here in the shop, mainly for tool storage for the manual lathe, manual mill there, and some other things that I need to store there as well, and also to be used as a workbench. Okay, so what I have done is I had Joe shear me up a thick piece of steel plate. We got some 3/8 thick steel. We got it right here. I've already got it all dressed, deburred on all the corners. We wire brushed the top, get rid of any surface rust. So this piece right here was sheared up to fit on top of that toolbox right there. So this will provide us a nice, firm, rigid steel top there, work surface to work on whenever we're using the roller chest there as a workbench. But I've got a new vise that I want to mount onto this. This vise is just spectacular. It's so sweet. It's American made, fully CNC machined. This is a bench vise that is made by the Orange Vise Company. I want to pull it out. Let's take it out of the box so that I can show it to you, and we'll check out the features that it have, and then we're going to move on and just do some more. We'll do some drilling and tapping here on our plate using Dad's Bucks magnetic drill right there, and I'm just really excited to get this little project done. So let's get going on it. So let's give you guys a peek at the vise so you can see what this looks like. I've already pulled it out of here once just because I had to take a look at it, but I've had it just stored until we could get to this project. There it is. Fully CNC machined right here in the United States by the Orange Vise Company. They have got a lot of really interesting features made into this bench vise of theirs, which I'll show you as we get it pulled out and get it mounted. We'll get it out of the box so you guys can get a better look at this guy. All right, well there she is. There's our new orange bench vise made by the Orange Vise Company. What a beautiful vise. Completely CNC machined. All the components for this thing, Orange builds in-house on their CNC machines. They do a wonderful job at building this guy. It's got some interesting features to it. So one of the features is the body here is split, so you can loosen up these two bolts here. You can actually rotate this vise around if you want to. I'm not going to do it now because we need to get it mounted, and then we'll show you how all this stuff works once we get it bolted down. It also, this fixed jaw right here, you can remove it. It's got a large bolt there. You can take this guy off and move it to the back where you can mount it right here on this dovetail. And that allows you to have approximately 12 inches of opening. So that's a pretty cool feature. And then the jaws themselves, these are aluminum soft jaws, and these are the same jaws that Orange builds for all of their multi-station vices. So they're interchangeable with their other vices there as well. So with them being aluminum, you can certainly modify those very easily if you wanted to put some V-grooves or any kind of features in that if you want to. Or you can have another set of jaws that's custom machined to fit a certain part or a job that you want to clamp up over and over again. Pull these guys out and stick your other jaws in there. Very cool. So it's mounted on this base plate here so that you can rotate it, and you just loosen up the two screws on either side and you can rotate it around. All right, it just pivots there on that base plate. It takes 4 socket head bolts that's going to mount it down to our work surface there. So this is the pattern that we'll transfer and drill and tap into our steel plate. And once we get it mounted up and it's I don't have to worry about it tipping over, we'll go ahead and check out some of the other features of the vise and how it works. So an interesting feature with this base plate here is that so you can buy more of these from Orange if you want to. Say you want to have this mounted in another location somewhere, another workbench or somewhere near a machine, you can have multiples of these if you choose to, and be able to just loosen these two screws, pick the vise up and go to the other location and put it down on the base plate and just tighten it up. So easily use this in multiple work locations if that's something that you want to do. So really happy to have it, and we're going to go ahead and start working on our steel plate now and get it all mounted up here onto our toolbox so that we're ready to use our new orange vise. So here's the swivel base plate that we were talking about. I've already got it loosened up. Just wanted to show you how it works there. You have the two set screws have ball ends machined on them. So when you tighten it up, it just goes up into this groove that's machined in this stub right here. And you can see we've got our four hole pattern to machine. And the other feature that I have noticed that I didn't notice the first time is that it looks like it's got dowel pin holes in here as well. So you could actually put some dowel pins in there to make sure that it doesn't move at all if you're wanting to keep this thing where it's at instead of swiveling under a heavy load. Looks like you can pin it. So you got 3 hole locations there, so you can spin it 90 degrees and drop it back down there and pin it in place. So pretty cool feature of that. So we'll just take our base plate here and we will get it clamped down to our plate somewhere in this area here. I need to make sure I'm off of the side of the box just a little bit because the flange here, I'll show you. Now our steel plate's going to bring this up, but I don't know. It may bring it up enough to where it's clear, but as it sits right there, you can see the set screws hitting. So I need to make sure that it's up over that, or make sure that it's in just enough so that we can back it out just like you see there, and it doesn't hinder it from coming loose. So just real simple. We'll clamp it down, transfer punch the 4 holes, and drill and tap. I got some 3/8 thick magnetic shim blocks there just to see how this was going to work out because of the set screw, and it's just about even with this flange. So what I'm going to do is just offset it about 1/4 inch that direction there, and it's just about 1/8 of an inch off the back flange, just like that, and that's going to work out just fine. This is as furthest out that's ever got to come. So I just wanted to make sure that I didn't get it bolted on there and want to loosen it up, and it's hitting the side of the this little flange area here. Eighth of an inch off the back, and we are 1/4 inch off the side there. 3/8 transfer punch. All right, we got Dad's mag drill over here ready to put to work. And before we get started, I wanted to show you the drill bits that I run. And the reason why I'm showing this is because I oftentimes get people that leave me comments either on YouTube or Instagram or even Facebook, and they ask me, Adam, what is a good quality set of drill bits that I can get for my shop? I want to show you what I run, and this is not saying that this is the only thing out there that's good quality drills, but this is what I have and this is what I stick with because they are good quality. All right, so Cleveland twist drill. Anything built by Greenfield Industries, they have several companies that they own. Cleline, Cleveland twist drill, and Chicago Latrobe being some of those brands that they own, and they're all made in USA. They're all high quality tools, okay? You can't go wrong with Chicago Latrobe, Cleline, Cleveland twist drill or any of their brands that they sell. I believe they also have Bassett. I don't have any of the Bassett brand tools. But so our tap right here, this is the same tap that we used on the last job there. This is Cleveland, the Cleveland brand, and I have both spiral point and spiral fluted taps depending on what we're going to be doing. Okay, so were you going with a gun tap or spiral pointed tap that pushes the chips through? All right, when it comes to hand taps, what I can recommend is that you should always buy a 3-tap set to have in your toolbox for general purpose tapping, especially hand tapping. I don't ever really power tap with these, but there have been times that I have when I'm using the larger taps though. So my 3-piece tap sets are made by Cleveland. Again, it's a company of Greenfield Industries, okay? So any of the Cleveland, you cannot go wrong. These are all good quality cutting tools, made in USA, high quality stuff there, all right? So that's my 3-piece tap sets, or most all of them are Cleveland. The 115-piece drill bit set here, this is the Cleline. So Cleline is what I would really recommend you guys that are trying to shop on a budget. Look at the Cleline stuff, okay? To me, it's the same quality that you get with Chicago Latrobe, although this, I believe, is what they would consider their premier brand, okay? So the Cleline, this is my 115-piece set. You know, it's the polished, bright, high-speed steel. Good quality drills that get the job done every day. I like a jobber drill for this type of drills because it's easily reground. Now the Chicago Latrobe set, this is the drill I'll be using. This is the shorter drills. I like having these because they're shorter length. So we're going to go in here for the 5/16. So these are more of a stubby length and they're split point, okay? These are cobalt, by the way. So I like using these, especially for drilling ops like that. All right, so Chicago Latrobe on this set right there. Any of them's gonna get the job done. You're gonna have a good quality set of cutters, drills, taps if you go with Cleline, Chicago, or Cleveland, one of those brands like that. All right, so let's go ahead and get lined up and start drilling our holes. So normally I show you my 60-degree center point that I use to line up our punch mark. If you don't have a center point like that, you can use a tap as well. The tap that I just showed you, it's got a point ground on the end. So I'll show you using that to line up our punch marks, because a lot of you guys are going to have these cutting tools and you can use it the same way to line up your punch marks there. I usually check it. I can see it walking that direction a little bit. It really doesn't matter, but I'd like to get it a little bit closer than I do. And keep in mind, this drill, it's got some slack to it. You see, that's me moving it back and forth right there. That's in the, you know, the gibs and the mount and everything, because it's just got a lot of wear on it, you know. So we'll try that again. That's better, right about there. So just keep that in mind. You guys can use the point of a tap there to line up your punch marks also. We use our CRC cutting oil this time. I like the foaming action that it does. And we're going the wrong way. All right, change the direction there. All right. And then up top, remember what we got to do is rotate this guy just like that. Nicely drilled and tapped hole. All right, now we can just move to the next one. We got the tap still in the chuck there. Helps if you break that bond off the mag, even after you unmag it there with the switch. I think that'll work pretty good right there. Wrong way again. Some good looking holes, some good looking threads. This is going to be one of the bolts we use. All right, there's our base plate. Make sure they all line up, and they should. All right. There we go. Take a 1/4 inch Allen, tighten up the 2 set screws on the side, lock it in place right there. All right. Well, really all we got left now is to clean up and get this plate picked up and set on the toolbox. I almost forgot I got to grind the bottom of the bolts off there. They were nearly the perfect length. If they would have had them in 1 7/16 length, it would have been perfect. But I don't think that's a standard size, so we had to go with 1.5 inches. I'm going to use our Mighty Mag to pick this up. So I'm just going to go ahead and put me a mark sort of in the center. Makes it easier to balance it. 30 9/16. Thirty and 9/16. Looks like we got a perfect fit on our steel plate, dropped right in there. I tried to give myself a good 1/8 of an inch clearance on the ends there so it wouldn't be tight. So it looks good. Last thing we got to do is get our rubber up there, get it cut around our block, and then we can go ahead and get our vise mounted at that point. All right, looks like we got a perfect fit there. Awesome. All right, there it is. Just gonna run these in there to where they're just close. Just like that. I love it. Man, that is going to be an awesome vise to have and to use. Just silky smooth movement on it right there. I believe it's made to be approximately a 6-inch opening here, and when you move the jaw back here, that'll give you about 13 inches there total. Awesome. Let's go ahead and we'll loosen it up here so you can see how it actually pivots. I haven't even done that yet. And I don't even know if I've got the right size Allen key that I need to take this jaw off. Might have to find one at the home shop. All right, 1/4 inch Allen wrench here. I think this may actually allow it to where we can move it in or out also. I'm not sure. Let's find out. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, so we've got 2 locations there. You can see the large tapped hole. It looks like maybe 3/4 inch tapped hole. So you can just take it right on out just like that, see? So that's pretty cool. Move it around where you want to. And then we have our pivoting action here, just like so. Tighten the split clamp. That is perfect. The jaw completely clears the toolbox. So if we got a long part that we want to stand up, this is going to work out great for that. And I'm so pleased at how silky smooth that screw feels going in and out. They do use a thrust bearing on here as well. So I do remember reading that maximum clamping force is limited to the thrust bearing, which is supposed to be rated at 3,000 pounds. So this isn't one of those vices that you're over here just, you know, pulling as hard as you can on this thing just to see how much, you know, force it will apply. It's just a vise, so you can come over here with your parts and clamp them up so that you can do hand work on them as needed, or if you need to hold something to do some disassembly. So I really, really like this. I think they did a good job, Orange did, on designing this, engineering it, and getting as much function as you can out of a bench vise. Very cool. I think we'll just leave it right about there. And snug her back up. I went ahead and slid it forward, and I did have proper Allen wrench I need for this socket head bolt, which is 5/8. But before we do that, I was going to show you. So you can loosen these guys right here. These are going to be the actual dovetail locks here. If I can hold on to my tools today. All right, so there's your machined aluminum soft jaws. These are just made, the dovetail is actually on these guys here and here. So that's how they have the stationary jaw mounted as well. Underneath here is with these same dovetail locks. Loosen those guys, and maybe I'm doing this backwards. Let me snug those back up. There we go. All right, there's your bolt that holds the jaw on. Nice. Just slide it back on the dovetail. Line it up with the tapped hole. I'm not going to tighten everything up real tight. I'm just showing you guys how this operates here. So that's pretty cool right there. Just curious as to what that opening is right there. So just under 3 inches all the way in. So that should give us, I'm going to say about 9 inches. Let's see. I don't want to unscrew it all the way. Okay. All right, good. They've got it to where it won't just fall out of there or come all the way out. So 8.5 inches in that position right there. So then if we move this back to the other position, that's going to give you approximately 12 inches in between the jaws there. Well, I think we got this project completed, and I'm real happy with it, real happy with the way it looks on there, and finally getting our nice thick steel top for the toolbox there so that we have plenty of rigidity up here on the top. You know, we can set our cast iron surface plate, other things up here, and it's not flexing and moving, and also provide a nice flat area there for our orange vise to mount on. I'm just really pleased with the engineering and the machining that they put into this vise. Great functionality, the way you can rotate this thing and move the jaw. It's just totally awesome. One of the measurements that I forgot to show you guys, in case you were wondering, was the jaw width is at 5 inches there, okay? So it looks good, and that's a great place for it right there in the shop. And it's gonna be a loved and well-used vise here in the shop. In case you guys were wondering about the toolbox there, this is the brand new Series 3 box at Harbor Freight, the 72-inch. And I have been getting this kind of lined up. So we've got our hand taps and stuff in this drawer here. I'm just going to kind of show you how I've been using it. That one, we're still filling it up with some tools. We've got a lot of our lathe tools right there, drills and centers, bore and bars, carbide inserts. I think we got some more of our pieces of the lathe go there, our steady rest, or I'm sorry, a follow rest, just different things for the machines. These drawers, I've been putting some mill tooling in. I got to do further organization of this stuff here. I have a plan for getting cutters much better organized in here, but for now, I was trying to get them in a drawer so I could get things moved around. We got our parallels and some big tool bits here, some V-blocks, things like that. We got our collets, some more cutters in there. So I think it's a really fine toolbox. I really do love the US General brand of toolboxes, and I've got several in here now. You know, we started with this guy for our hand tools. We added the 55-inch there. We've got another 55, that's for the big lathe there. I even added whenever I was picking this up, I got a couple more of these guys here because they still have these, and I wanted one dedicated to the KBC mill, another one there for the Milltronics, and of course we've got one over there for the Milltronics CNC lathe. So we've got plenty of toolboxes in here now, but I've finally got them kind of where I want them. And this was the idea that I had for this being used as a combination workbench, toolbox for the machines, and then having a vise mounted on it too. And I'm super happy with the new orange bench vise there. So I've got a little quality of shop improvement here to make to our KBC Tools milling machine. You guys all know that use these machines, how much of a mess it can be to try to clean these tables off. And there's various ways that everybody goes about trying to tackle this. A lot of people like to cut some kind of cover to lay on top to block it from the chips. I've got a nice rubber mat on my do-all mill at the house, but I've got this product that I'm going to share with you because we're getting ready to install it. And that is these T-slot covers made by Octane Workholding. Now you can get this over at KBC Tools. They sell it in a few different sizes, so they have a variety of sizes for all your standard T-slots that for both manual and CNC machines. And all it is a rubber seal. It actually looks a lot like a hydraulic seal, but they come in 10-foot lengths, and you can take it and just cut it to length. So pretty simple install, and all you do is take it, and the way it's molded and designed, it looks like it catches the bottom of the T-slot here. So this one is 5/8, by the way. You just push it down in there. You just push it down until it's about flush with the top of the T-slot there. Just like that. And then so you've got a nice durable cover for all of your T-slots to protect from chips piling down in there and then helping you with your cleanup there. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the vise and my super spacer over there and get them off out of the way. We'll clean the table real good, and then we'll cut these guys to length and stick them in there. Now what I'm going to do, the back T-slot and the front T-slot, I'm going to go ahead and cut it to the full length from here to the opposite end. But I have two workstations set up here. We keep our spacer there and our vise here. So what I'll end up doing is cutting the middle T-slot about whatever this length is here. I'm going to measure it. I keep it about a foot right here, and then that way you have basically two workstations. And then we'll have another piece cut to the middle here, and then a short piece on the other side there. But I just thought that this is would be a very helpful product to help any of you guys out there with milling machines. I've been seeing Octane Workholding over on Instagram show this stuff for years, and finally decided to go ahead and get some for my mill and give this a try. So let's go ahead and get this seal installed. Before we take everything off, I want to go ahead and get some reference measurements for our middle T-slot. So this one's going to be 12 inches here, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll measure between the T-nuts there, get that cut, and then we also have on the other side of our spacer here, we'll take this measurement from here all the way up against the T-nut right there, which is somewhere around 8 to 10 inches there. But take that down and we'll write those measurements down. Let's see how our while we're doing this, let's look at the bottom of this and show you. It's looking pretty good. So I keep SP350 from CRC sprayed on the bottom of all of my vices or other work holding like that, and helps keep any kind of rust and corrosion from forming between the two surfaces there while they're bolted down. So it looks like it's been doing pretty good. That's been bolted down for a little while now. We're going to be doing the task that our new T-slot covers is going to help you try to avoid. Cleaning out the chips. I just want to get it cleaned while we're in here, kind of start fresh. Spray some of this Pro Strength degreaser up in the T-slots to help get them cleaned out. Probably have to get a more full can so I can get it up in there. It's working great. All that oil and grease and everything, cutting oils, gets down in these T-slots and starts getting kind of thick and sticky, and then creating a layer of chips and buildup down in there. All right, now that we got everything nice and clean, I'm going to go ahead and make it dirty again, or not dirty, but just oily. So I'm going to go in there with my SP350. That will create rust inhibitor on the inside the T-slots there. And this is what I always spray on the tabletop as well, and the vices and everything. Just wanting to get some down inside these T-slots so that it'll help prevent any kind of rusting, because I do use mist coolant over here occasionally on the mill, and it'll seep down inside there. But I think the new T-slot covers, the way that they're designed, is with it being molded kind of like a seal. I think that this might actually help prevent any of the fluids from going down inside there, but I'm sure some will get down there anyway. So I'm just putting some rust inhibitor down inside the T-slots there. All right, we'll get a measurement on our long covers. This looks like they're going to be 46 3/4 of an inch. So we'll cut 2 of those, and I've already got my shorter ones measured out there. 46 3/4. Got a long scale up here to lay this on to see if we can accurately measure it. I'll see if I can hold this in with this clamp on the table. Shouldn't need much, just to hold it in place. There we go. All right. It's a little twisted from being rolled up for some time. So what'd we say? 46 3/4. Making sure that it's straight here, and I'm not stretching it too much. It has a little bit of elasticity to it. We're going to try that right there. .46 3/4. I'm going to use one of my favorite Craftsman tools, the Handy Cut. All right, that looks good. I'm gonna go double check it before I cut a second one to make sure I got that right. All right, and in fact, it does look good. So go ahead and stretch out another one here. Basically just push them down. You can kind of feel it get a little tighter as it gets to the bottom of the bevel that's ground in the top of the T-slot there. I think that's about its natural stopping point right there. Go ahead and get this side started as well. Yeah, it's actually a little bit long. I must have had it kind of stretched out, so I'll just reach in there with my razor knife and just trim this off on the end right there. See if I can do this without cutting my finger off, right? All right, so that's going to be our 12-inch there. And before I forget, I want to go ahead and put our T-bolts in there. This is what I like using for the vices there. I like using an actual T-bolt dedicated for just the vise, and that's all I use it for. They're 5/8 diameter, by the way. I think that's a better size for milling vices versus the 1/2-inch hardware. So we'll go ahead and get those in there. Let's get this guy installed. $12 1/4. Did I grab the wrong one? I did. This is supposed to be in the middle. Not that a 1/4 inch matters, but that's how I measured it out. So we'll go ahead and put this one in here. That's where I had everything positioned anyway. Yeah, 12-inch. Get a little bit of SP350 on here. I'll go ahead and get the vise back on the table. The top of the T-bolt is kind of ramming into the end of that T-slot cover, so I think I need to pull that out and trim just a little bit off of the bottom edge of it.
Just gonna trim a little bit, like this right here.
Let's see if that will, that should allow that T-bolt to slide up in there without interfering it. Yeah, that's better. I think that'll work right there. There you go. So I'll go ahead and do that on the other short pieces as well. All right, that looks good. That's what we're talking about there. I just did it with the knife, real easy to cut, so that should clear the top of that T-bolt there. So this is how I always square up my indexing head here. I always just use a machinist square up against the table, and this has always worked really well. You can bump this thing in using this machinist square, and it is going to be within, if you swept this with an indicator and you did this right, you should be within a couple of thousandths being square all the way across there. So I'm looking down this, I can see a little tiny gap on this side. Make an adjustment, pull the square back and bring it back in. And that looks about right there. Tighten up this front bolt there on it. And that's, visually it's about as square as I can get it right there. You could sweep that with an indicator if you needed to, but for most of the work that you're doing on this, it's not necessary. The only time I ever indicate that is if I'm really doing a job that this thing needs to be absolutely dead nuts, you know, square with the table. All right, we are almost finished up with this. This is the clamp system that I use on the back of this right here. It's not the best, but it does work. Okay, so there's one shop project finished up. Installing our Octane Workholding T-slot covers on the KBC mill. By the way, I do need to tram the vise. I'm going to do that off camera there, but do need to get that trammed in. But that's going to be a nice addition there, so that you basically just wipe all your chips off instead of having to dig them out of the T-slots every time. So Octane Workholding T-slot covers available at KBC Tools.